Guys, welcome to another Almost Famous, and we're off to the races. So I came across this epiphany that just dawned upon me that today was actually Thursday. So we're shooting this on Thursday, okay? So you know. And tomorrow will be Friday, naturally speaking, and unless something supernatural happens and there's supernova that blows up, right? And who knows what can happen to us. But at any rate, I'm super excited because day in, day out, I always try to bring you the best out there, right? Now, my next guest tonight, okay, I'm not trying to beef it up or anything by any stretch of the imagination. She is wonderful in every way, every capacity. She's just a virtuoso. She's a prodigy since she started singing when she was in diapers, 2 years of age. I was 5 when I left the diaper land, but she was 2 years old when she was singing. This is when she started, and I think she took classes with mom. She's going to fill us in on all this wonderful thing, but her name alone has got to give you the common theme throughout all her music. Okay, she's written the song. The word is for fun. Tightrope, which is one of my favorites. I gotta say, it's a real good one. It's catchy, right? Wasting my time, guys. Without further ado, please welcome True Istina, singer-songwriter. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing okay, right? All things considered, it's hot in here.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot, it's like 90 degrees in here, but I can't do anything about it. Like they say, right, in showbiz, the show must go on.
Always.
so are you in your room? This is cool. Like, what's the setup like in your backdrop? Is that virtual or is that real? Is it AI?
This is real. This is my actual studio. I have a little closet that I've turned into my own studio. So I record here. This is my guitar. My cello's over there. Those are my show boots. Oh, yeah. Got the whole thing. This is real.
Wow. There's no AI going on in the background. You know, now there's a lot of... You see how I at the top Hollywood? It's virtual. That's actually virtual. I'm not standing in front of the Hollywood sign. At least I don't think I am. Anyway, I'm super excited to have you on and happy and thrilled to have you. Now let's start with your name. Your name. One of the songs. Your songs are, by the way, so catchy. And if I'm not mistaken, you've amassed over 125,000 views between 3 different videos you've done and songs. That's impressive, boy. How do you do that? That is so awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's definitely been, when I first started, I did not expect anything because I started as a songwriter, totally different than my music career. I've been acting and singing and dancing since I was literally 2, and I loved it. I was always a triple threat. That was my thing, but songwriting was something I just kind of fell into. So when I released my own songs, I'm gonna be honest, I was a little terrified. Okay, I was really terrified. And I had no idea how the public would take it, no idea if they would connect, if they would love it, or, if they would see the message. So when I got, all these views and comments and everybody telling me that they love my music, I'm still blown away to this day. It's crazy. And I can't believe it, especially because I'm an independent artist. So
yeah. What's really remarkable is that nowadays we're able to wear different hats. Quite literally, we're able to delve into so many niches and crevices that we had no idea that we're good at. There's no such thing as a one-trick pony anymore, right? Like, you do one thing and that's it. It's the cookie cutter thing. No, you can actually behind the camera, in front of the camera, and there's so much room for to showcase all your artistry, if you will. Such is the case with you. So let's back up. You're 2 years old, right? What is the first recollection you have of like singing? Seriously, like your first memory.
Okay, I think Amazing Grace was the first real song I ever fully learned, because that was just something that always played in my household, and it was just something that my mom sang, my brother sang, and we all sang, and we always sang like choir and stuff, and it was my Papa's favorite song. So I think that's just something that I fell into.
and it's quite a beautiful song, whether you're a believer or not. I mean, I thank God I'm a believer. So, it's amazing grace. It's beautiful. It's by the grace of God that we're here, the grace of God that we're saved, by the grace of God that we're able to be gifted these talents, if you will, such as what's been bestowed upon you. So I love it. I love that you started with that song. It's one of my favorites as well. Growing up, I was also in the choir, and then I got into rock and roll and heavy metal and punk and pop, right? And now I'm into pop because of your fault. Tell my wife, we're going to a pop concert now. We're going to Iron Maiden and Metallica. Anyway, so yeah, it's great. I mean, your message quite literally is fantastic. And congratulations on that, because it carries the theme, this emotional theme of the purity of pure, real, being real, genuine, right? And truthful. And hence your name, your moniker True Istina, correct?
Istina.
Istina.
Yes.
Istina.
Yeah. Croatian.
Better than N. Sorry. It's like I was thinking of Instacart. No, I'm like, man, what should I order to?
Istina, like Christina. That's how I say it.
Right. I love it. So yeah, forgive me if I botch your name. So your mom gave you, so she's also a singer herself, is what you're saying? Is you trying to tell me that?
She was a vocal teacher, and she's an opera singer. So we have very different styles, but we used to sing together, and I was always harmonized to her. So I guess I was meant to be a singer. I don't know. I mean, I'm kidding, but like it was just something we always did as a family.
Right. You're like, give me some lunch. Me too.
We had so many songs.
I can't harmonize, save my life. It's hot in here. I'm like, oh my God, let me crank it down. It's gonna get hot in there. So you're a prodigy. I mean, quite literally, you start early for obvious reasons. It runs in your veins. It's so innate for you to start singing and stuff. How do you get the creative juices just to kind of start? Let's start there. How do you get inspired to write a song? Is what I'm trying to say. Does something happen to you based on, like, say, there's one about your friendship, and then you found out the real layers and the true colors, and you say, wait a minute, we have a song here? Or how does that all come about? I'm just curious.
Well, my newest song, called The Word Is really, it was created because I was trying to define some relationships in my lives that, they changed a lot, especially since the beginning, and since, like, I used to be really happy in them, but now it just felt like it was dragging me down. It was so much work. I'm like, what am I even doing? Like, it felt like such a waste of time at a certain point that I'm like, but I still love this person. So I'm like, what happened? So The Word Is was really just trying to define, what happened in these relationships. Like, what caused this? Why does it feel like this? Like, really saying, like, a relationship is toxic. I mean, that is a huge step, especially with, when you're with someone that you really truly care about or have been around for a really long time. So saying that is like, you're putting a label on it, and it's really hard, but sometimes you have to, or you can't move forward.
Wow. So it's like, it's kind of like a catharsis, almost like you're able to release whatever's happening, and then it becomes a kind of a tick of negativity, and a negative situation turns into a positive, because then your music is played everywhere, people start liking it. So it's quite, it's you think about it, it's pretty amazing. It's got a duality, right, of there, if you will. So you started writing songs, and then you began to see, oh, wait a minute, I could really carve out a career here. Did you tell me the process with putting out your music? Where do you start first? Like, what's the very first app you uploaded? I'm like giddy to find out. Was this like YouTube? Or I'm really old school, as you know. I'm like, very YouTube, and probably I would say TikTok has helped a lot of people. Is that a platform that you use as well? Or
I think it's something I'm working on. Social media has never been like something I was super huge on, but like I realized that, it's definitely a tool, and that's how I'm trying to look at it. Like, social media, like growing up with social media, especially like in high school, that was really hard because there's a lot of kids who, like, you feel you comparing yourself to people, or it's really hard to, feel like, people are being real, and it's a lot of pressure. So I did not have the healthiest relationship with social media, especially during COVID. And I think that was also something that led to me songwriting, was because social media, music, not being around people, like just struggling. Like I felt like I didn't have anyone who understood me. And I felt so much pressure to be a certain way. And it was really hard. It was something that drove me to songwrite, honestly, is that I wrote these songs literally to help myself. I was in a really dark place and I didn't know what to do about it. I was listening to music I loved, but it was almost making me feel worse. And then on social media, people are happy and I'm just like, why aren't I happy? You know, like it was just so much pressure. Like that's why I started songwriting, because I really wanted to help myself out of that place. And this
Wow.
really did. It helped me understand myself. It helped me, know how to get out of it or have hope again. And that's why I released them, honestly. Like it's weird to think about, but my music is out there for people to listen to. But the reason is really I just want to help someone else like it helped me.
That's beautiful. I think you're a purveyor of truth, and you're helpful, and I know some people might have it's kind of like it carries this message, and in in the lyrics and whatnot. Obviously, it carries this beautiful message. Most of your music, people can relate to. It's relatable, and that's important, right? Do you what are growing up? What were like some of the singers that you looked up to?
Ooh, growing up, I loved
Mhm.
Carrie Underwood. Always have. I have all her albums. I've been to her concerts. Like, always loved her so much. I've watched her music videos way more times than I should admit. I loved her as a singer and her power and how she brings you into the story. And then I also loved Pentatonics. They were my favorite because I loved their harmonies and they are like the vocal goals. Like to be able to sing like that and have your voice sound as beautiful as that. It's like it literally is the music. It's amazing. So I loved artists like that. And like now I listen to a lot of artists like BB Rexa. I love songwriters. Like I love listening to those kind of sounds because I love to incorporate that into my own music. It's like I love the way they tell their stories. And that's something that's helped me, really show my stories more. So I've definitely grown from them, but I think I've also grown off of them. I've kind of built my own style and found my own way of making music, and that my music's really about a feeling more than, a story or, a certain type or a genre. It's really about the feeling of the music.
So it's like that old song. It's more than a feeling, more than
Yes,
um,
exactly.
so this is cool. So it's eclectic, it's everywhere. You delve from different, you take from a lot of different artists, and then you found your own voice, which is very cool. And you don't, it singles you out. It's you stand out from the rest in that regard. Also, I'm wondering what it begs the question: what comes first for you? Do the lyrics come first, or is it the melody, or
Oh, this is a hard
and
question. I've done it a lot, but sometimes I'm definitely a writer where sometimes I just have a feeling. I just like turn my recorder on and I'll just sing. I'll just like keep going through it because it's emotion. That's really what it is. I'm capturing emotion. So the words
yeah,
don't matter. I'll go back and fix the words later. It doesn't matter. But like I want to capture the
cool.
emotion of it. And that's like, how you get the progression between your verse and your pre-chorus and your chorus and all that is really because it captures that, movement of how you're feeling.
Groove. It's the groove. Kind of
Yes.
goes along with that groove, and then the words are sort of like the afterthought almost.
Yes. Feeling. You
um,
want to capture the feeling.
in high school, I'm wondering in high school, what was high school like for you? Did you have a lot
Oh,
of friends, or I mean, or some of the so-called friends? In high school, there's always a clique, right? Like Mean Girls of sorts, right? You watch the movie, you have Mean Girls, which part two is supposed to happen, actually 2.0. So I like to see how that goes. But everyone has it's clicky, everyone hangs on to their own little tribe of sorts. Did you have like a tribe, and did you later find out that some of those friends weren't your real friends? Because you know how that tends to be the case. I mean,
in
was
high
that?
school,
Yeah.
for sure. I had a weird high school experience actually. I only went to school, like full school, for about a year. Everything else was online or like partial school or like I switched schools. I was the new kid technically 3 times because I was online at one school and then I went in person to the same school. So I was the new kid twice at one school.
Wow.
That was
Yeah.
an experience for sure. But yeah, I definitely know I've had those moments where, like,
Yeah.
when I first started high school, I'm like, I thought I had really good friends, and things change and it's okay. We grow apart. I get it. But,
Right.
as a freshman and then going into COVID, because I had COVID directly during my sophomore and my junior year of high school. So that was really weird. And that's honestly where, like, that's why I started songwriting, is because it was such a transition. I did not know what I was doing. I felt like I was just drowning. It was so much that was just piling on top of itself. I'm like, first my friend group broke up, and then COVID hit, and then I'm like, I'm trying to focus on my schoolwork, but I feel so alone, and it was just really bad. And that's why I started songwriting, because I know there's other people who definitely went through the same thing.
Wow. And it's funny because my son had kind of the same. I have a 21-year-old, and he had sort of the same high school experience where it was like 2 years he wasn't in school, and then he comes back, and it's almost like, what, graduation? It was like it
It
was all
was
like
so
a blur,
weird.
It was so
Yes.
bizarre.
I'm like, I don't really remember it. I'm like, I graduated. I'm like, that's all I know. I graduated. Good enough.
Yeah, yeah, that's the best thing. It's interesting because do you think any of those years define you at all? Like, do they define any of who you are?
I
As an
mean, I think I got to take a step
artist.
back because when I was starting high school, I started going down a really academic path. Like, I was so into my studies. I had basically given up on music in a way, and like it was just
Right.
slowly faded. It wasn't like, I'm like, oh, I give up. No, it was more just like, I started focusing on, like, I was in softball, I was in flag guard, like I was focused more on that stuff.
Yeah.
And I really was focused on my studies. I'm like, I'm going to do AP classes, I'm going to do honors, all that stuff. And I realized during COVID, I'm like, this stuff doesn't actually make me happy. I'm like, why am I doing it again? And like, it gave me a chance to really
Yeah.
reflect, honestly.
Right.
And I think that's
Right.
why some of my music is really about, like, finding your way or finding your path. Or my song Not Me is literally about the fact that people wanted me to be a certain way. And I'm like, but it doesn't make me happy. I can do it, but doesn't mean I should.
Right.
So yeah,
Wow. That's
time.
pretty crazy because it's reflective of you really, there are a lot of those experiences that so many students have, which is great. Why you're so young that you can kind of you can speak to the masses of people that are kind of high school, post high school, postgraduates, that kind of sort of delve into a lot of those issues and things that occur. That's why I was very curious about your school, your high school, because a lot of times a lot of things happen to various people, and of course those are things that are very telling of what it might be in your music at some point because you weren't able to really express them far and wide, and now you do it by way of lyrics. So let me ask you this. So you obviously found this is your calling, you know. But do you ever act anymore? Do you ever have that ambition to act, or
Yeah,
is that
I
somewhere in it's? Go ahead.
Yeah, I absolutely love acting. That's how I started, honestly. I came to California was it 9 years ago, I think? Yeah, it's been 9 years. Crazy. But I started as an actress. That was my first thing. And, I've done short films, I've done commercials, I've done shows, I've done like all of that. And I love it. Like, I loved playing characters. I loved, being someone else. And I think that's why, honestly, True Istina was really, it's a piece of me, but it's also the part that I'm scared to show people. And that's honestly why I wanted to keep it that way, because I'm like, my real name is Grace, and I have that acting side of me, and like it's how people knew me. But that version of me is not as open and honest about things because she's scared to tell people how she feels. She's not, very open about her feelings, and I'm more to myself in that way. So True Istina and my music in that way is really honest. It's raw, it's real, it's all the stuff I wish I could say, but I just don't have the confidence to do it yet, which is why my whole thing is creating confidence, because I want to combine my two sides.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is great. So, you have like an alter ego almost, and
Basically.
and that's fantastic. It's okay, I guess, to keep it that we could separate the both for a minute, and and then bring them together at some point. It's this. I think that you follow your mantra, and I think that's what makes it special in and of itself, your music, because you follow this whole truth and raw and sentiments that everyone's feelings are valid, and that people should be heard and loud and clear, and that's you. That's True Istina, and I'm really I'm like just I'm a fan now. I got to tell you, I'm a fan, and I really think that because in a world we live in now with tons of all the mental health issues and people that are written off, or oh, this person's crazy, this person's this, and nobody understands people these days, and a lot of it is derived. It comes directly from during the COVID era, and their feelings that are suppressed and were never expressed and whatnot, and things of that nature, and so it's so refreshing to see someone to be able to sing about things that are going on, such as yourself, for example, with people's emotions and what's really going on, and delving deep into the psyche, into the recesses of the mind, almost, to figure out what it is, and bringing it out. And that's a common thread that a lot of people have, even myself at times, and we're afraid to express it. And I think this inspires others as well to to be able to find that voice, in them. Um, and so, what do you see yourself like in 5 years from now? I mean, you're doing pretty good. You're doing quite well now. But where do you see True Istina going in 5 years from now?
Well, to be honest, I'm so grateful that I found this outlet for myself. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know where I would be right now if I hadn't. I was, like I said, I was in a dark place, but also I was just kind of here. I was like, I'm just taking every day by day, but it was like I didn't really have a purpose. I didn't have a reason. I'm like, I'm okay. I'm alive. Cool. I'm here. Yeah, I'm here. That's
Yeah,
it. So I'm so grateful that I found this, outlet for myself. So in 5 years or even before that, I want to help other kids and other people find their passion and their outlet, because
that's
you're right. A lot of people don't know how to express themselves, and I was one of them. So I'm so grateful I found this, but I want to help other people find their outlet and what they need to express themselves.
fantastic. Would you like to like be a part of perhaps nonprofit, or that
Oh,
goes out there to give, because I think that's kind of the direction I see you going into as well too, because you could be prolific and do everything. You could do it all. You could be a part and lend your voice as a singer, as a hopefully a very very inspiring creative that people know out there, so you get your name out there, and then you get on these podcasts, like such as my Almost Famous podcast, and then everyone that goes here, I'm like Oprah, right? I touch you, that's it, you're gold. Once you're on my show, you're gold, right? And I'm kidding, but I do tend to know. I mean, I've had some people that are really taken off, but I see you taking off all by yourself. God is your pilot. I think you're gonna do fine, just as you're doing. Do everything you're doing, and all your due diligence, and keep moving forward. And you're gonna do great things. But yeah, I see you doing a whole lot of outreach and helping others get the help needed, and then you're through your music worldwide. You'll be known by a lot of folks, so you'll be touching the lives of people quite literally. um
dream,
yeah,
honestly.
yeah, and allegorically as well, obviously through music. People hear it and they're like, wow, that word touched me in so many ways. Did you ever like do you know like anybody like like Janet Jackson? You like any throwbacks, any classics, any singers from the olden days at all, or
Oh,
it's like
100%.
classic, Janet Jackson classic?
My parents were throwback central. My mom loved 80s, 70s, and 90s love songs, and my dad loved rock
Yeah.
and punk. So
Okay, me too.
I was like the mix of the both of them, and that's why I found my own style. Honestly, it's
That's
because I was
fantastic.
always around all different styles of music, and I love taking pieces for every single one.
That's my question. My next question is: are you thinking about doing a rock album at some point?
Ooh, I have a rock song, so you know what? If people like it, we might have to.
Okay,
I'm
can you
open.
can you spread some lyrics right now? Some bars. Spit out some bars for us here.
Okay, let's see.
Think I was gonna put you on the spot, did you?
Let's see. Nobody's heard really the word is because it's brand new. Should I sing some of the word is?
Hmm.
Okay, I'll sing the chorus then. It's only when I try to get away that you come out to play. The word is toxic, it's not healthy. I don't know where else I should be. Don't know if this is the place for me. Obviously not. The word is tragic, cause I can't get away. I want to, but I feel I have to stay. I can't figure out what's wrong with me. Your texts are flexing, la 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 la. La 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 la. I'm done this time.
Bravo, bravo.
Thank
Blown
you.
away. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Uh very, very well done. Yeah, beautifully done. I'm wondering the evolution. Do you find that some, because I noticed some songs are different than the others. The message stays the same no matter what. It's a baseline message. However, some of them sound somewhat different. Is there an evolution to your sound?
I think so, but I think there's really two sides to me. There's definitely like the side that's more like I love playing with like EDM and I love playing with like, very experimental songs. And I think you'll hear that with like my new album that's coming out soon, that like I love experimenting with different sounds. And then there's also like the sounds that like, I just want a song that touches your heart and is super like, simple. And it's just like, it's that feeling that's there. So definitely the feeling is what connects all of them. But yes, I have very two different sides.
I noticed that. I see how good I am. I noticed it. I said, there's something, either she evolved or there's like two sides. Like maybe she just meant it to be this way. Um, all right. Had you not have been a singer, like just hypothetically speaking, for obvious reasons, because you are a good singer-songwriter. If you not have been a singer, what would you have wanted to have done? Like rule the world, be a politician, or something different? Like what other aspects of the academia did you, I don't know, want to do, or flirted with? What idea?
Okay, so I mean, I was always an actor, singer, dancer, and that was the hardest thing. I'm like, okay, which one do I pick? I'm like, between the three, I don't know. But when I got to the academic sides, I really loved psychology.
Yeah.
That I think you also see it in my music though, and the way I reach people, and like the way I speak, and the way
Right.
that I
Right.
write the
Mhm.
messages, is that it's very based on like how we connect each other, like how we connect. So I think that's something I always loved. I always have, honestly. I loved learning about the brain and how people are different and who's artsy versus more logical, and why that happens. And it's so interesting to me, especially different personalities. And that's why I think, creating an understanding between everybody is the main goal. And that's how we make the world better.
That's through music by far. Through
Yeah.
music. Music's one outlet that could bring people together, language, regardless of your languages, could be Babel all over again. And, you know, and yet the world will come together so beautifully, bonded by the love of music. That's the common goal and common thread. But I have a question for you. What about like country? You have a voice that you could actually do country, by the way. I meant to say, and it would serve you well because I mean, swims, right? You got all these people. You got Beyonce doing country. You know, I mean, who's to say? I might even dabble into country. You just
I'm
don't.
open.
I like
I mean,
country.
if
My
I could
wife
start
loves
over
country. She
with,
lives in
I
Kentucky. She loves country.
would.
My wife, yeah,
Yes. I know. I love country. I always have. And like, if
yeah.
I could collaborate with Carrie Underwood, I'm open. 100%.
But
Hit me up.
collaboration. All right. Now
Yes.
it's a great way to seg into the collaborations.
Ooh,
Who
okay.
are you wanting to collaborate with? You obviously told me Carrie Underwood, which
Mm-hmm.
I see the dynamic would be great. Who else would you like to collaborate with?
I
Sorry,
have
I'm so
a
thirsty.
couple actually. Is that okay?
Mhm.
I got more than one.
Go for
I
it. Dude.
Okay, I love Karen Wood. I think I've made that clear. Pentatonics, obviously, because Pentatonics. Vivi Rexa, because I've loved her. I love Bruno Mars. I always have. I thought that he wasn't a B-list, but he was one who was like consistent with his hits and people just didn't recognize him. But now he's got all the fame and now everybody knows him. And it's amazing to watch his career, the way he's grown, but he always put out hits. So you know what? I expected it at this point. So I'd love to work with him. I'd love to work with XG, which is a Japanese group who are amazing singer and dancers. They're incredible. They just performed at Coachella. I watched their set. Chef's kiss. So
Yeah.
good. And also like Jamie Foxx, because I love
Jamie
singers who are
Foxx. Look at
soulful.
you. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I have everybody across the board. I'm in every single genre.
Yeah, you're eclectic. You're all over the
Guns N'
place.
Roses in
It's
there.
an amalgamation of everything. So okay. So what about Usher? Is that too? Because
No,
without Usher, check this out. Without James Brown, and I'm taking it. I'm your dad. I could be your. I'm probably your dad's age. So James Brown, then Michael Jackson, right? I mean, clearly there's that parallel. Then there's Usher, and then there was somebody else. I can't think of his name. Bob, somebody that he hit his wife, his girlfriend. Unfortunately, he got in trouble. Then there was Chris Brown. Then there was Chris Brown, and then there's the guy you just mentioned right now, Puerto Rican. Bruno Mars.
Okay, Bruno Mars. Yeah.
Jamie Foxx. Okay, Jamie Foxx. Hear me out. All right. Now we're gonna be critiquing these artists like if I know better, right? So the podcaster slash.
That's how music works.
Right. I have musicians in my family too. But okay, here's the deal. So hear me out. Okay. Love Jamie Foxx, but I think Jamie Foxx is an entertainer. He's a bona fide entertainer. So as such, I think he's really good at what he does. He can mimic someone's voice. He does comedy. He does, a little bit of everything. I mean, the guy is unbelievable. However, I will say, like, when it comes down to the nitty gritty, like, okay, can he sing and stick to this one voice or one passion or one genre that he could do quite well, right? I think it's Lionel Richie. Mm-hmm. Jamie Foxx is not the first person that comes to mind. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? But I'm giving him lots of grace. I love the guy. I'm singing his praises. Love the dude. However, I'm just thinking it's, Bruno Mars is the one right now for me that stands out. And obviously Rick James and James Brown. I mean, these guys, and Prince, obviously. And then of course, Michael Jackson. But Michael Jackson was an extension of James Brown. You ever watch the James Brown on YouTube? You're like, wait a minute, dude. So there's that. So, but anyway, I delved in. I'm all ADHD here. So let's bring it back to. I think that Bruno Mars is, he's definitely. He's right now. He's a compilation of all the greats and down to one package deal, and it's great. I love Bruno Mars myself. I have friends that have gone to see him, and I haven't had the chance to, or haven't been lucky enough to get those tickets. But I like to see you collaborate. I think you could collaborate. You could do it all, and you're quite amazing, and your message is gonna go far and wide, and you'll be able to disseminate it everywhere through your lovely voice, your music, your lyrics. They're powerful, they're raw, they're everything you said and more. What's that? Did you hear that? It was so weird. I felt like a gong or something. Gong. I am tripping. Is this real? Is this like regular water? Anyway, True Istina. Oh my God. Okay, so what are your social media handles before we forget? Because we're out of time here.
Yes. Well, I am on every social media platform as True Istina, TrueIstina, and on Instagram it's trueistina.official because I am official. It's me, the real gal. This
okay, so the word is, this is like your latest creation, and it's really good. And I gotta say, your acting is flawless. You're good at acting as well, and it's really cool. I love the way you guys put together. Now, did you have the creative? I mean, are you in these rooms, or the creative process that goes into creating a music video? Are you part of this?
Absolutely. I've been involved in every single process since we started. I have a creative director, and we build these music videos together. We build the stories together. We build the colors to the location, to the actors, to everything. And this one specifically, we're going to have a short film coming out telling you the story of The Word Is. So I'm super excited about that. As well as I have a music video coming out for my song New Life, June 6th, and it was filmed in Croatia. which was so
What?
beautiful. Yes,
How was
in
it? What
Croatia.
was that like? What was that like?
In
What was
Croatia.
that like? What was that like?
It's so amazing. It's on my home island of Ilovik, and it's beautiful. We were there at sunrise and sunset, and it shows the beauty of nature on the island. So I'm so excited.
Me too. And I mean, that in and of itself is something that AI could never replicate.
Exactly. We do it for real every
Yeah,
time. Everything's been real. Every video.
yeah. I'm truthfully, it's such a treat to have you on. Thank you for spitting out some lyrics, and for treating us. Definitely. I mean, I really can hardly wait to see what the future holds for you, and I'm gonna be following you every step of the way. And yeah, I mean, let's bring it to a close here. But I want to thank you, and everyone follow my good friend now, Grace True Istina, as she sets off into greatness, to the stratosphere, with her music and her grace, and that's it. So I guess that's my show. I want to thank you once again, and stay tuned for more on Almost Famous. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.